Ito, abogado man ito, si Attorney Abayon, pinaliwanag niya kung ano ba yung mga nilalabag sa batas at may grounds ba itong ni Inday Sara? May grounds ba itong impeachment or itong reklamo ng mga abogado sa Supreme Court para mapigilan yung impeachment? O, pakinggan natin to mabilis lang.
2026, yung first hearing ng impeachment case si VP Sara sa HOR level sa Committee on Justice ng House of Representatives. Tapos yung nangyari po sa committee na yon, number 1, hindi po umattend si VP Sara, di ba? And then number 2, hindi rin po umattend yung lawyers ni VP Sara. And number 3, yung pinaka-interesting po na development doon ay yung pagpa-issue or yung pag-move po na mag-issue ng subpoena yung Committee on Justice para ipasubpoena yung SALN records ni VP Sara from 2007 up to present. And then yung mga business records din po ng negosyo ni VP Sara at nung asawa niyang si Attorney Marn Scarpio, which includes the law office po ni Attorney Mans yung gusto ipasubpoena. So yung subpoena po na yon was issued kasi upon voting ay majority ng members ng House ginrant para i-issue yon. And the only dissenting voter was si Congressman Rufus Rodriguez, who is also a lawyer himself. Okay, so yan po ang pinaka-interesting development nung March 25. Then nung March 27, ito na po yung final naman nila Attorney Torion et al. Na case sa Supreme Court. So yung final po nila is certiorari and prohibition with prayer for temporary restraining order. So when you say certiorari, ang layunin po nito is to determine sa upper court or sa Supreme Court in this case kung whether or not may grave abuse of discretion ba, grabing pang-aabuso sa kapangyarihan yung House of Representatives, which amounted to a
grave abuse of discretion. Ginamit nila dito na grounds nila Torion yung pag-dismiss sa impeachment ni Bongbong Marcos. And then, yung double standard ba? Double standards ng Congress. And then, kung paano nila tinatrato itong impeachment ni VP Sara. Ginamit nila yan dito.
Or excess of jurisdiction because of that grave abuse. So yan po yung certiorari, yung purpose niyan. And then prohibition naman po, correlated din po to yung certiorari and prohibition, but the purpose of prohibition is to prohibit the House of Representatives from continuing with their proceedings because of grave abuse of discretion. Okay, and then ito namang prayer for a temporary restraining order. This is a preliminary remedy since matagal-tagal pa po to itong certiorari and prohibition bago madesisyonan ng Supreme Court. Pero prior to the actual resolution kasi of the case, posible nang maapektuhan, di ba, yung rights po ng isang party. So dito po ngayon papasok yung temporary restraining order as a provisional remedy po yung tawag. Para during the pendency of the case proper, itong certiorari and prohibition, ay pwede na ma-restrain yung House of Representatives from continuing to avoid further affecting the rights of the respondent. Okay, so yan po ang final na kaso nila Attorney Israelito Torion and Company. So ngayon po i-discuss naman natin yung subpoena na inisyu ng House of Representatives kasi yun po yung isa sa main reasons kung bakit na-file to or final to nila Attorney Torion and Company. Okay, so ilalagay ko po to sa gilid yung actual rules ng House of Representatives para hindi po tayo maligaw kung ano ba talaga yung procedure ng House. Okay, so yung first po nating issue talaga is whether or not pwede ba mag-issue ng ganong subpoena, ganong klaseng subpoena yung House of Representatives kung saan yung mga documents po na gusto nilang makuha ay mga documents sa isang bagay na hindi po na-mention or nabanggit dun sa main complaint. So kung ako po ang tatanungin ninyo, yung legal position ko po as to that issue ay posible pong may grave abuse of discretion yung House. And the reason is because number 1 po of the right to due process ng respondent. So alam naman po natin na si VP Sara already filed her answer, di ba? Yung answer ad cautelam niya na medyo naging controversial pa nga. So anyway po, ang process po kasi sa impeachment in the HOR level is upon filing and initiation, i-determine nila na sufficient in form, sufficient in substance, then after na yan, notice to respondents and time to plead. So ito yung answer. And as a matter of fact, yun nga po, si VP Sara already filed her answer. So ngayon, kaya ko po nasabing it can be a violation of the right to due process because in right to due process, yung first po niyan is the right to be notified kung ano yung sasagutan mo or i-explain mo later on. Diba? So, yun nga po, sumagot na si VP Sara based on the complaints that was filed and presented and made part of the record of the proceedings. Yun yung sinagutan niya. So ngayon po, kung biglang may isasabpin ng records na hindi na notify si VP Sara or hindi niya alam kasi hindi yun naka-attach sa original records, kung ako po tatanungin, questionable po yun, di ba? At pwede po i-argue na it violated the right to be notified ni VP Sara. Therefore, a violation or a possible violation po of the right to due process yung legal position ko. Okay, so ngayon, ang next question, pwede naman daw yun sagutin ni VP Sara kung mag-participate lang po siya sa hearings. Yun yung binabato sa kanya. So yan, like ito po ang sinabi ni Congresswoman De Lima, may pa bloodbath pang sinabi noon sa simpleng committee hearing nga ay takot na takot ngayon. And then ito rin po si Congressman Sendanya, corrupt lang ang ayaw humarap. Grabe. So ngayon, ang next question is si VP Sara ba yung may dahilan or sarili ba niyang kasalanan kasi ayaw po niya mag-participate, diba, sa hearings. Therefore, because of that, hindi siya na-notify. So in simple terms, is it VP Sara's own fault ba kaya na-violate yung right to due process niya? Ang legal position ko po dun ay hindi po yun kasalanan ni VP Sara, kundi it is a legal strategy na ginagamit niya at nung lawyers niya. Kasi meron po tayong tinatawag na principle of estoppel. So when you say estoppel, pag meron kang gawin na isang bagay, ay hindi mo pwede questionin yun later on. In other words, kung na-touch move ka na sa isang move, hindi mo na yun pwede bawiin later on. Dito po kasi ang gusto mangyari nila Congresswoman De Lima, dun sagutin ni VP Sara sa committee hearings yung mga bagong evidence. So pag mag-attend ngayon si VP Sara sa proceedings na yun, tapos ma-notify na siya of the new evidence na pinasabpina nila, that can be argued na she already consented or was properly notified of the new evidence that was submitted. Therefore, what process. However, since ang position nga po nila VP Sara ay hindi pwede yung mga ganong klaseng sabpina, edi syempre hindi talaga siya a-attend doon. Tapos yung proper next step dyan or yung ginawa po nila Attorney Torion ay i-questionin yun sa Supreme Court para may higher court na mag-determine kung sino ba talaga sa dalawang parties ang tama. Is it Vice President Sara and her lawyers or is it the House of Representatives? So si VP Sara, yung pinaka-main issue po nila ay walang jurisdiction, yung House of Representatives, and of course yung House naman, position nila, meron silang jurisdiction or power to issue yung mga ganong klaseng sabpina. Okay? And of course, since dalawa po silang parties to a certain issue, hindi naman po pwede na sila lang din yung sumagot, na sila yung tama. So yung proper venue po talaga dyan, kung may ganyang situation, ay iakyat nyo yan sa higher court para yung higher court ngayon ang magsasabi kung sino sa kanilang dalawa ang tama. Okay? So medyo technical po yun, but in simple terms, since si VP Sara nga is questioning the jurisdiction of the House, edi hindi talaga siya magpa-participate doon para hindi siya ma-estope. Kasi pag pumunta na siya doon, tas nag-participate siya, it means she already surrendered herself to the jurisdiction of the court. Diba? So yan po ang most likely iniiwasan ni VP Sara and her lawyers. So in other words po, yung refusal ni VP Sara, kung ako po ang tatanungin ninyo, hindi po yun because takot siya or dahil corrupt siya as stated nito ni Congress.
Yan, bobo kasi yan eh. Yan. Ito, putang ina to, bobo to. Walang alam yan. Nakita nyo nung tinanong niyan si Pangulong Duterte, harap-harapan, nagmukhang tanga yan dyan sa Congress. Si Bobo, walang alam. Si De Lima, ganyan din, walang alam. Tanga rin yan. Tapos may kaso pa, o nanira ng pamilya. Walang reputasyon, may kaso ng droga. O hindi ba? Fully dismissed na ba yung kaso niya? O hindi ba? May pinababalik nga yan sa kulungan, sa Court of Appeals, di ba? Yan, nasa laya pa yan. Ganyan kalakas yung mga hype niyan. Tapos sila yung mga malalakas magbintang. Eh yan, si De Lima, meron nga yung meron daw yan hindi rin na liquidate na pera ng Department of Justice. Si Rizal Tiberos, bukod sa PhilHealth, meron pang issue ngayon sa insertion, hindi may paliwanag. Mga walang hiya ito eh.
Man sendan niya. But it is simply a legal strategy po kung ako ang tatanungin ninyo. Kasi kung ako din po ang lawyer ni VP Sara or ng respondent in an impeachment process sa ganitong case, yun din most likely ang i-advise ko para hindi kami ma-estope to question later on yung proceedings nila. Okay, so hopefully klaro po yan. So ngayon, ang next question naman po natin, aside from a possible violation of the right to due process, meron pa bang ibang posibleng na violate yung House sa pag-issue at pag-acquire ng ganung klaseng evidence via a questionable subpoena? At ang sagot naman po dyan ay posible naman pong may violation din sa Revised Rules on Evidence. So as you can see here, 2019 Revised Rules on Evidence. So Section 3 po yung titingnan natin. Rule 128, Section 3, General Provisions. So makita po nyo, evidence is admissible when it is relevant to the issue and not excluded by the Constitution, the law, or this rule. So yung applicable po sa atin is this one, which is yung relevance of an evidence to the issue. Okay, and the reason po kaya yun yung sinight ko, because number one, yung rules of court apply suppletory, diba, sa impeachment proceedings according to the own rules po ng House of Representatives. And number two, because yung mga evidence po na makukuha ngayon via the questionable subpoena ay pwedeng ma-argue na hindi yun siya relevant to the issue because as stated dun sa March 25, 2026 hearing by Congressman Rodriguez nung kinlarify po niya sa members ng House ay yung mga businesses na gustong ipasubpoena yung records ay hindi nabanggit or naging parte ng ultimate facts nung complaint. And then pangalawa po, yung SALN was starting from 2007 all the way up to present. So in 2007 up to 2022 ay irrelevant din po to the case considering na it has been repeatedly discussed and held already by the Supreme Court na yung impeachable offense or the ground for impeachment must relate to the term of the impeachable officer. So 2007 to 2022 ay hindi pa naman po impeachable officer si VP Sara. So therefore, yung SALN for those periods can be argued na irrelevant to the issue. Okay? And then yun nga po, yung sa business, since hindi nabanggit or naging parte ng ultimate facts ng complaint, ay irrelevant din po siya to the issue kasi hindi po siya parte ng records ngayon. In simple terms, yung evidence po na yun, once makuha ng House ay wala po siyang facts na marerelate to or magiging relevant to kasi hindi nga po nabanggit sa complaint yung basihan na facts nung evidence na gusto nila makuha. Okay? And yung next reason ko po is the rules mismo ng House of Representatives. So Section 7, second paragraph, and yung last sentence po to be specific. So the committee shall have the power to issue compulsory processes. So itong compulsory processes is the power to issue subpoena for the attendance of witness and the production of documents and other related evidence. So wala po tayong question na they have the power to issue subpoena. Pero yung issue ko lang po talaga dito is itong last part, diba? Other related evidence. So yung evidence po na dapat i-gather nila via the subpoena must be related to the case. Yun yung issue on relevancy na pinakita ko sa inyo kanina dun sa revised rules on evidence. So since hindi nga po nabanggit sa ultimate facts yung basis ng mga documents na gusto nila ipasubpoena, therefore, it can be argued na hindi po related or relevant yung evidence na pinapasubpoena ng House of Representatives. Consequently, it can be argued na may grave abuse of discretion. And yung next follow-up question po dito, di ba yung impeachment process daw sa HOR level ay similar naman daw po to a preliminary investigation. Yun po yung repeatedly na binabanggit ng both parties, yung defense and the members ng Committee on Justice themselves. So ang masasabi ko lang po as to that issue is yung ganun pong comparison is simply for analogy purposes. Because at the end of the day, the impeachment process is a totally different process po yan from a regular preliminary investigation. So yung first po na difference nila is yung impeachment is a constitutional process po yan, mandato po yan or mandated by the Constitution directly to Congress. Whereas po yung preliminary investigation is based only on the rules of procedure. To be specific, yung rules on criminal procedure. So dun pa lang po makita na ninyo yung one of the main difference, constitutional process, yung impeachment, whereas isa is a regular or a rule-based procedure lang. Okay, and then pangalawa po, in preliminary investigations po kasi meron na rin tayong jurisprudence na nagsasabi na pwede mag-to-follow ng evidence. Whereas in an impeachment process, wala pa pong ganong jurisprudence. Kaya hindi po natin strictly pwede masabi na pwede lang din yung to-follow na evidence sa impeachment process. So kung ganyan po na wala pang strict jurisprudence, kung ako po ang tatanungin, we should just go back to basics, which is the right to due process nga. Dapat notified palagi yung respondent and dapat yung time niya or yung right niya to explain must be based on what was notified sa kanya. Hindi yung pwede na bigla na lang may sumusulpot na kung saan saang evidence. And it is for that reason kaya po ito natatawag na fishing expedition ng iilang mga anti-impeachment like si Congressman Rodriguez himself, tinawag din po niyang fishing expedition yung subpoena na yon. So kung titingnan po talaga natin yung rules on a regular preliminary investigation versus a impeachment process, ang regular PI po kasi mukha talaga siyang parang investigation/case build-up na procedure. Whereas itong impeachment, kung ako po ang tatanungin, para lang siyang preliminary or evaluative na procedure. Meaning na in-evaluate ng HOR as the body kung whether or not sapat ba yung complaint with the attachments, evidence na binibigay sa kanila to determine kung meron bang probable cause para iakyat yung kaso sa Senado. Okay, pero tatandaan po natin na wala pa po kasing clear jurisprudence sa ganyan. Kaya yung position ko po, again, play safe na lang tayo kung hindi sigurado. Let's just be safe and follow na lang yung right to due process talaga. Which means na dapat laging notified sa lahat and yung mga na-explain nga po ng respondent must be always related lang dun sa mga na-notify sa kanya. So
di ba? Simple. Galing na mismo ito sa abogado. Very technical pa din yung pagpapaliwanag ni attorney pero ano pa din, pero mas maintindihan natin kaysa dun sa propaganda ng kabila. And I would say, napaka-importante na kumalat nitong mga ganitong klase ng mga videos, lalong-lalo na itong mga video natin para mas ma-educate pa yung tao at saka mas maliwanagan yung tao. Ano ba itong pinagtatalunan nila? Kasi allergic ang tao pagdating sa mga technical na mga bagay. Lalo na yung mga technical na pagpapaliwanag. So kailangan nila talaga nung paliwanag na na maaabot nila o abot ng kapasidad ng bawat isa, yung kumbaga layman. O kaya ganun yung way ng pag-explain natin. Kasi tayo mababaw lang din naman tayo na tao. So kung ano yung pinakamababaw na na explanation para mas maintindihan natin at maabot natin, kailangan yun ang ginagawa natin.